Hi guys, my name is Camille Kuo. This tutorial is for intermediate artists who already knew basic object lighting and rendering. There's no real-time creation process, but multiple layers, explanation of how I achieve the result, and how to make the image better with some Photoshop tips. The best thing about this tutorial is that it does not require any special brush or a complicated filter adjustment, but just default Photoshop brush and the basic knowledge. So let's get started. I start with laying down an overall grayscale background with brush like this. And here's the setting. You can freely adjust however you want. To color the base, just create a new blank layer and airbrush it in some color, which is like this, and then set the layer property and highlight. Then pin the figure from silhouette, give it a general lighting. At the moment, I'm not worried about the overall mood and color tone. For skin tone, always choose the opposite color and different light and shadow value. For example, here I choose the purple as the dark tone, and for the mid-tone I choose gray pink, and the light tone of course is grayish pink. You may also wonder, what are those solid block shapes that I have here? Those are for the healing brush usage to perfectly smooth out and even the skin tone. Press Alt, click the point, and then paint somewhere that you want to smooth. Look at how smooth and blend in right away of the color. Look how I invent out the skin tone perfectly. And of course, I'm going to switch on my hard light layer to see how the overall mood is right now. So I even made a Z-sphere in ZBrush to accurately posing this dynamic figure as a guide. So I further detail this character and adding all the fishy elements and some overall texture. And the texture is set in overlay, of course. And here I want to demonstrate how do you do veins. So I use this brush, the Soften transfer brush, and you just it's a very rough demonstration anyway. And after you draw those lines, you can erase the solid color in between. Look, now the 3D element comes out, the 3D feel comes out right away. And you should erase the part according to the light hits. So here's my rough demonstration. After my character is kind of finished, I'm going to add in some background. The rock here you see just down like straight, it's the same thing, just black in the silhouette and then draw detail from there. And of course you add in background shape, midground shape, and foreground shape. So here are my coral, and I will demonstrate it in a minute. By the way, I imagine this character is coming out from the water, so there are some places should be uncovered by the blue highlight layer. So I just erased a part of the layer, or you can add a mask. I feel the overall tone is too light, so I duplicate this highlight layer, and then set it and multiply with some adjustment of opacity. Now it's time for more detail. Add some water, drip, and drop. And here I'm going to show you how to do the drip. I'm just selecting white. That's the easiest. And you draw a line. And then same thing with the vein, erase in between. And you add some highlight. So here we go. And we all know the water has some reflection. So I just airbrush in with white color and then erase it when we fix it around. I actually just create a small part of coral reefs, and the rest is just a duplication with transformation. So like right here you see at this corner is a duplicate of from here, as well as this Also in the back too, there are just duplication. Okay, here I'm going to demonstrate how I did those coral. First, I'm going to choose this kind of brush with shape dynamic turned down, and the most important thing is you want to turn on color dynamic as well, and set your foreground, background jitter, and purity. Or if I just choose a color, let's look at here. So I'm creating those coral with some interesting texture and detail. And it can be widely used on many other stuffs. Now let's back to the character. I just added some paint with the eyes because the eyes was looking too sharp before, as well as some eyeshadow and eye reflection. And here's some overall fix and more detail, more stuff in the background. And how can we miss some bubbles? I feel the edge of the water is not clear enough, so I'm going to enhance it. Just go in there, airbrush it. Make it recognizable. More lighting adjustment. So next is dot highlighting. I just flatten everything else into one layer, or you can create a new layer with just set the property in color dodge. But in this case, I just start with a layer of flatten everything, set my brush property in color dodge, going to detail out the edge. And here more lighting adjustment. Just Control L. You can bring down the overall tone, like that. Okay, I'm ready for the final image adjustment. Press Ctrl Alt Shift E on keyboard to flatten everything into one new layer. And then I'll go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. I would say just it to look like this. Hit OK. I'm gonna set the layer maybe in Dodge Light. It's probably too much, huh? But this is how I get before. And of course, adjust my opacity. And I kind of go in and erase the part that feels too light. Like the face here is kind of exposing. Repeating previous step, create new layer with flatten everything, add Gaussian blur, bring down opacity, set layer property in soft light. This should balance out overall light and shadow furthermore. It's underwater, so the highlight should be strong and shining. So again, flatten everything to one new layer. Set brush property in color dodge. Okay. Then I'm going to highlight the ground. So the end result will look like this. Enjoy!